Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 20 of Be With Me. We are in a horticultural analogy about spiritual abiding. We started with it yesterday, and title of today is Having Maple Syrup in My Veins, and maybe even having maple syrup in my veins for His glory. So we talked yesterday that xylum and phloem, flowing inside of a tree branch, is the key to its bearing fruit. No xylum and phloem, no connection, no life, no fruit. So the positive side about this is we need to stay connected. We need to stay in that active, alive, restorative, healing, nourishing xylum and phloem that's in the vine, and then we can produce spiritual fruit. So the whole concept is staying connected and staying abiding. So the miracle of fruit is really, if you take a step backwards, it's really the miracle of abiding. And abiding is the mark of the believer, and fruit is the mark of the believer. And if you don't abide, then you're of no use to the Lord and no use of the kingdom. So if you want to be useful, if you want to have a further impact and expand the kingdom, then abide better. So this is from John 15, 8 verses today. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciple. So did you know that every maple tree has maple syrup in its veins, so to speak, in its xylum and phloem? It's just in a relatively unconcentrated format. All you do is you tap the tree, you get the sap, you boil it down, and it is maple syrup. So there's this delicious maple syrup in every maple tree, and there's a delicious oak syrup in every oak tree. It's just maples have more syrup, which is why we tap maple trees. All right, so let's think about this. The Lord clearly wants us to bear fruit. There's an expectation of fruit bearing, and no fruit is born alone by itself. You have to be connected. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So to our analogy is that you need to stay connected to the maple syrup. And if you want to have spiritual impact and spiritual influence and spiritual clear glorification of the Lord and lots of fruit, and I think all those things are good, I think then we have to make a proportionality to how much maple syrup is flowing in our veins. So God's job clearly is to be a fruit inspector. That's His right as creator. No fruit means no abiding, and obviously you can't bear fruit by itself. So we need to be, He is kind of like the maple syrup provider, and we're the fruit makers. So we need to stay connected and abiding and intimate. To what end? So this is new today. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit. So how do we bear much fruit? Well, we bear much fruit by abiding. When we stay connected to the Lord, we prove that we're disciples. Verse 7 talks about, if you abide, my words abide in you. If you've got the xylum and phloem flowing back and forth, fruit making connected to the fruit maker, if you will, then we're in communication with him, we're intimate with him, and we can ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you because we're asking for the right thing, I would imagine. This glorifies the Lord, that we're askers and that he does for us. Verse 6 talks about being useful. That glorifies the Lord. What else glorifies the Lord? That we're connected, abiding, that we have maple syrup in our veins. He wants us to bear much fruit, have influence, make more territory for him. So one of the sobering things in this passage, so this is kind of like the rainbows and puppies and maple syrup, but isn't that great? Yeah, but there's pruning too. So we should expect some pruning. If glory is the goal and the manifestation of his glory, we'll probably have to get some things out of the way. So if we're going to be abiders and the best fruit bearers, the most desired fruit, certainly on a grapevine, is one that has been pruned, and it's going to have some pruning scars. So think about this. Not everything that you do is good. Not everything you think is pure. Not everything you keep is yours to keep. Not everything you say is kind. Not everything you see is for your eyes. And the way that you may walk, not every way that you may walk brings you closer to the Lord. Not every habit is helpful. So, in conclusion, the Lord is the fruit inspector, and that's his prerogative. And I think the desire for influence and impact and love and grace and truth is all very appropriate for a believer. But we need abided impact, abided influence, abided love, abided grace. And may my impact, Lord, taste sweetly of you. May maple syrup be in my fruit and in my veins. And if your glory is my goal, let me get some stuff out of the way. Maybe actions, thoughts, possessions, resources need to be marshaled for you. And finally, let me be not surprised when this pruning happens. Lord, prune me so I can be more fruitful. Help me abide better. Help me to be sweeter. Help me to have more maple syrup in my veins. I thank you, my brothers and sisters, for listening today. I thank you for considering these things. And may you be sweet with maple syrup in your veins and in your fruit today. See you tomorrow.